pause and say that I'm sharing on YouTube now. Give me a minute. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It is Lady G from Transform Lives podcast. Tonight, I am with Danielle Freeman tonight, and we're doing a podcast segment on business, businesses. So, tonight, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and give me 1 second. I hear feedback. Podcast segment on businesses. So, okay. Danielle, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm being heard on YouTube. And sometimes that happens when you have two apps open at the same time. I just want to make sure that I can be heard. Give me 1 second. This is always what we try to do. We try to get it together before we. Okay, there we go. Just want to make sure I'm being heard on YouTube. Okay, so I'm being heard on YouTube. So I just want to take a pause for a minute, and I just want to let the viewing audience know that this is Danielle Sierra Freeman, and she's the business strategist consultant on with us tonight. First, I want to just say thank you so much, dear, for coming on, Danielle. I want to say what Transforming Lives is all about. Transforming a life one day at a time through the lens and the eyes of the community. Transform their life means that we don't accept complacency. Okay, this is the Servitude podcast where I serve as the host. I serve other people and communities, giving God the glory for great things and all things. And as I elevate and others elevate, I like to elevate other people because, again, complacency is not a thing. So, without further ado, before I go ahead and give you the mic, I'll go ahead and I'm going to share this right now to Facebook. Give me 1 moment. And I thank you. Going to share this to my audience at Facebook. Going to make it public. And I'm excited about tonight, Danielle. I'm very much so excited about tonight and what God is going to share to the people. I'm excited.
I am as well, and I'm so thankful, to be up here.
Yes, I am thankful as well. Very much so thankful. Okay, Danielle, I'm going to go ahead and give you my. I'm going to go ahead and let you tell us about yourself, Danielle.
Absolutely. So, of course, my name is Danielle Sierra Freeman. And first of all, I want to say, as I was mentioning before, that I'm super grateful to be on this podcast, especially as the goal of this podcast is to be able to showcase, servitude so that we can help better the community, right? And, kind of an introduction to myself, that's why, I became a business consultant because I want to help serve individuals within the community that have a dream, that have a passion, in something, and helping them to be able to monetize that passion so that they can be able to continue it and really fulfill their, purpose that was given to them. And so to introduce myself, so basically credential wise, I graduated from Christopher Newport University.
Hmm.
I graduated in the top 10% of my class and in the University School of Business.
Hmm.
CNU is a AACFB accredited university, which means it's has a really high business accreditation. And I'm also a member of a honor society. Now, people are going to say, "Oh, this sounds like a fraternity," but It's not, trust me. You can look it up. It's called Beta Gamma Sigma, and it is the highest business honor that anyone in the world can receive. And this is quoted
Okay.
by Stonehill College. So really great stuff. Super, happy to have received that accreditation. I'm also accredited in what is it? Having certifications like in Google Business, so Google My Business, and then also some Microsoft certifications as well. So yeah, that's basically the educational side. But um, one thing about me that I love is that I just recently moved to Tennessee.
Okay.
Really great little area. I'm originally from Virginia, so really happy here. I just am in love with the mountains, the people, and just love, traveling. So it's great.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Danielle. Thank you so much. I even had Danielle. I
Yes,
can't
can
hear
you hear
you.
me?
Oh, I could hear. I could see your mouth moving, but I could not hear you. That's why I started talking. So I'm okay. I'm gonna be quiet.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Oh, go on. What were you saying?
No, you go ahead. Were you finished?
Oh, yeah, I was.
Oh, I apologize. Okay. So, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for coming on again. And to be in this business, a business, right? You have to know a few things, right? In order to have a prosperous business, right? And I see what I understand it to be, if I've heard this before, that people say that the first 2 years don't look for any revenue. How true is that?
Yeah, well, the thing is that when it comes to being able to generate revenue, there is a statistic saying that a majority of businesses that are started are
Mhm.
what is it, not going to be what is it, as successful. The reason behind this is because sometimes when people start a business, they're starting it for their passion, but they might not have the exact business knowledge that is needed in order to get to those revenue goals, right? So the thing is like it does depend on, things such as like, the industry. It depends on, kind of like what marketing goals that the company has, and then how we're generating sales. But and then also the pricing as well. So it really does depend on the business model. But with that being said, you know, the biggest thing that I like to tell people is that when it comes to achieving revenue goals, it's all about your sales and marketing processes, right? And then having specific goals that are going to essentially help you to be able to know, okay, so for instance, let's say if I want to make in revenue, because there's a difference between revenue versus profit, right? Revenue is total amount of money that we're getting from a sale, right? So let's give an example. Let's say if I'm selling a t-shirt, right? And the t-shirt is $10, right? That's how much we're making in revenue. The costs associated with that t-shirt, like shipping or things like that, that is the cost of goods sold. And then profit, which I think is another really important thing to discuss, is the amount after taking that revenue, minusing it by the cost. That's the money left over in our pocket, right? That's profit. So I feel like the bigger question is that's worth discussing is when it comes to revenue, it's more so about our sales. It's about our marketing. It's about, okay, like, are we bringing in enough clients to uh the business so that we can be able to have that leverage in order to continuously make money, continuously have that income coming in, right? But then profit is the really important part, right? That's the thing after the costs are going in. So the thing is I think is worth discussing as well is also profit, because revenue is also really important, right? That's like the sales part, that's the income coming in. But how much are we retaining after that revenue? right? And that's where I think a lot the confusion is with a lot of business owners, because they say, oh, when it comes to, how much money I'm making, it's the total amount that's coming in. Well, no, you have to be able to look at your expenses as well, because you never want your expenses to outweigh the amount of money that is coming in. So hope that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Um, in the podcast business, me being in the podcast business, it's very hard to get to begin to bring in any kind of revenue, any kind of capital, right? I know you have to have a certain amount of subscribers. I know that the best thing to do for me is the market in order to get people to subscribe, even subscribe. And I'm a little measly at 45 subscribers, but I see hope at the end of the tunnel. I never knew that. I never took this on as getting any kind of money from it. I took it on as a passion first, and then God said, "No, this is your ministry." And so I'm looking for God to do with His big thing, right? And His time, and to elevate me through gifting others through the platform, and getting, being into rooms where I can be exposed to other people as well that can bring those numbers to me. So that's what I'm looking at. So I know as a podcaster that it's going to take some time, but but I know with God all things are possible. So I'm not even worried about that. I do know as a podcaster it does take that the marketing piece of it, and somebody to strategize how
Mhm.
to do this. You know what I mean? So I know I'll be calling you because I know I'm gonna need that information on how should I be moving, from A to Z, or A to B. What should I be doing? What am I? And then bring up some short-term goals and long-term goals. And that's speaking of goals and the business aspect. As a business owner, no, up and coming is different than somebody who's struggling in the business, right? Who the business is failing. So I've even said that, that if you want to, know how to get your business back where it needs to be, what your failures, reach out to Danielle, see what she can offer you, see where the mistakes were made and how they can be fixed. But in a sense of, you know, a new business owner doesn't know anything. I know there's business proposals and things like that. What can you tell us without telling us a whole lot about the business proposals, and in reference to what do you need a business proposal for?
Yeah. So do you mean like a business plan?
A business plan. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So a business plan is, I always tell people this all the time. I have a lot of people that come to me and say, Danielle, I'm super passionate about this and I want to turn into a business, right? I always say start off with a business plan. You always want to have a strategy going in order to understand how your business is going to work, right? You know that you're passionate about it. You know that this is something you want to do, but what are the ins and outs to be able to go in and discuss, or to be able to really understand how you're going to monetize your passion, right?
Hmm.
And monetize the venture that you would like to do, right? And turn it
Hmm.
into an actual income generating, venture. So what I like to say is there are a few components to it. There's definitely setting financial goals, right? So like I was mentioning before, there's revenue, your costs, your profit, right? You want to be able to understand, okay, like this is how much I want to make in revenue, right? So when a customer buys from us, let's say if they buy a package, if you're a coach and they buy a package for $1,000, right? That's $1,000 coming into the business, right? But maybe you have some other costs that are associated, right? Maybe $500 in costs, and then after those costs, how much do we want to retain back into the business? Because one thing that's important is that we need to realize that it's important to be able to invest back into the business, right? So that it continued to grow and grow and grow, especially in initiatives like marketing and sales, because marketing and sales is what's going to help us to drive more revenue so that we can be able to, once costs are deducted, to be able to increase our profit over time and to grow and scale, right? So definitely setting some financial goals, but then leveraging those financial goals to say, okay, what marketing goals do I want to have, right? So there's two things that I should mention with marketing and sales. There's a difference between the two. So people think that marketing and sales are synonymous. They think that they're the same thing, but actually, they're a bit different. So marketing is more so the process of getting people to understand who it is that we are, right? These are people that have never come across the business before, and they're like, oh, okay, like this is who we are, right? And this is who this business is, right? It's about getting that message across to them to showcase how we are the best fit, right? But it's more about brand awareness. It's about getting them to know who we are, right? Whereas sales is basically taking the pool of people that already know who we are and turning them into actual paying customers. So it's kind of like what I like to call it's a funnel, right? So basically think about the funnel, kind of as the shape where it's going in, and when like, water comes out, there's different parts of it, right? So like you have the marketing parts where you're trying to raise awareness and get a certain amount of people to be able to understand, who we are. And then it trickles down into sales, how we're going to be able to turn them into customers, right? So definitely having a solid marketing and sales strategy and finances and then operations as well. That is super important because how are we going to be able to get these things done on a daily basis, right? How are we going to be able to work towards our goals? What do we have to do every day? What do we have to do even when it comes to the actual delivery of the services and fulfillment, right? That kind of goes in together with it, the operations and fulfillment. It depends depending on the business, but that's basically, kind of the general basis of how it will work, and we would need a way to track how these success of our strategies are going as well. So tracking metrics is also very important.
Wow, you said a mouthful. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, in the business that you're in right now, what do you see is the most prevalent, or what do you see the most from 1 to 10, and the 10 being the highest and the most amount of people? What mistakes are being made in businesses where they fail?
They have to come up with and I know this sounds repetitive, but come up with a solid plan. That's the biggest thing that they have to do, because I see a lot of businesses that are, and again, it's great that they're passionate about what they do, right? It's great that they want to make an impact, but sometimes they just don't know where to start. Sometimes I've come across, clients and people that are like, oh, Danielle, like I, want to start this nonprofit. I've worked with people that are also in real estate. I've worked with a lot of different niches, but they all say the same thing. They're like, I have this goal, I have this dream and this passion, but it's either they don't know how to properly monetize it, or they just don't know where to start when it comes to the strategy, right? Because it can be a lot. And that's one thing about me is I try to help them take baby steps, whether that's through consulting them, consulting with them to be able to say, hey, let's break this down into easy, bite-sized steps in order to help you to get to your goals. Or I do it on their behalf as well. I've created business plans, I've created courses and things like that to make their lives easier.
Thank you for that. Now, hypothetically speaking, I own a restaurant. I'm 5 years in, and I've been winging it. I've been listening to other people. I've been, trying to get information here, from there, and everywhere. But I just don't have that profit anymore, and I'm just doing. I'm making decisions. I know I'm making decisions that are just, you know, Richter scale. I know I'm making decisions, but it's like to me, it's the best decision to make. But in all reality, I'm sinking. I'm swimming. I come
Yeah.
to Danielle. What is Danielle gonna do? I'm already in the business. I've been there for 5 years. I've been winging it. I've been, I didn't have a business plan when I started, but I've been doing okay because I am getting a little revenue. I am getting the people that come, but I just don't see. It's like everything that's coming in is you know I'm taking it back out because I have to buy food. I have to buy repair equipment, and I just don't see that money coming in for me. To make my ends meet. What will Danielle do for me?
So the biggest thing that I would do is I would do kind of like so like I was saying before, right? The finances is kind of like the foundation, right? We want to make sure that we are getting enough revenue and then also getting enough profit, right? And what does that mean? That means doing either one of two things or doing both of two things, actually doing both of two things. And that is making sure, excuse me, that our, you know, that sales are at the max that they can be, right? So making sure revenue is high and then cost and expenses are low, right?
Mhm,
So in the case of a what is it, a restaurant, you would have different costs associated with it, not just cost of the food, but cost of operations,
mhm,
because this is a business where it's in person. Of course, you would have to pay for the the rent for the building, the electricity, things like that. That is called an operational expense. But sometimes there are costs that are more associated with the actual, revenue per, what is it, like revenue per product, right? So every time I sell, let's say if I'm selling cheesecake, right? And
mhm.
I sell a piece of cheesecake, how much money, am I spending on the ingredients and things like that, right? That's
Right,
associated per, what is
right.
it, per product, right? So there are two different types of costs. But what we want to generally do is we want to make sure costs are down, not to where it's impacting quality, but we want
Right,
to make sure that our costs are down. And
right.
what are some ways to be able to get our sales and revenue to be able to go up, right? Because that's going
Okay.
to increase profitability. Because if your expenses are too high, right, you're paying way
Yes.
too much money, and then it's going to start cutting into your pocket, and then that might not
Right.
be business success, right? But the thing is if we are into increase our sales, that's money that we can fund back into the business, right?
Right.
Through being able to cover costs and things of that nature, and then have extra money to be able to put back into the business and to, pay ourselves, right? Because at the end of the day, we also want to monetize.
We
So,
do.
one thing that I recommend people do is do something called a financial projection, where
Okay.
it's kind of like a mini income statement where, you look at your revenue, you look at your cost associated per product, right? You
Mhm.
look at your what is it? What they call gross profit, which is basically a way of saying like total profit, cumulative profit, like that's another way to say it.
Mhm.
And then afterwards, you take into account your operational expenses, right? So, what is, the thing that you're paying, per month, regardless of how many products you're selling, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So, like heat, water bills, like,
Right.
rent,
Right.
all of that. And then
Mhm.
you look at the amount, percentage of, the tax percentage that you would pay as well. And then all minus all of that out. Then what we would
Mhm.
do is we would look at the total net profit that we would get, right? And if our net
Okay.
profit is low, we need to work on some things, right? If it's high and if it's showing that we're retaining more money, then that's
Mhm.
good. That's a good sign. And we can always look for ways to minimize cost without taking away from quality, but increasing sales. So that would be the way
Understood.
that I would look at things.
Okay, great. That was awesome. I really appreciate that information. Now, you guys out there in the television land, I'm sorry, in YouTube land and on Facebook land, that was some information, some good information that lets you know her expertise. So don't sleep on Danielle. Don't sleep on her at all. She knows her stuff. And if you are out there and you need help because you're struggling with your business, please reach out to Danielle. Danielle, do you have a website?
I do actually. Let me be able to pull it up really quick. Did you want me to put it in the chat so people can access it?
Yes, please. Mhm.
Okay, 1 second.
While she's doing that, you guys, I made a comment on Facebook, uh, and I asked it, and I said that if you wanted to ask questions, just a few questions, please put your questions in the comment section on Facebook or on YouTube in the chat. Danielle will be leaving us in a few minutes, but she's going to send her plug where you can contact her directly.
And actually, I have a what is it? A offer that I'm currently doing where
Okay.
I can be able to, help people to I call it the monetization maximizer challenge.
Okay.
And basically it's a way for you to be able to work directly with me and be able to know where in your business you can be able to improve. Um,
Okay.
and it's basically a 5-day challenge. I have to, renew it because we did our first one, but I have to be able to renew it because I'm doing another one coming up. So let me put the website link to this really quick, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Let me see. Give me 1 second.
That is awesome. That's awesome. I like that. And if you guys better jump on that, you want to be part of, you want to make your business successful, whether you're up and coming business owner or you are an entrepreneur who is finding yourself struggling in your business, take advantage of this special, please.
Yes,
Take
definitely take
advantage.
advantage of it. Take
Yes.
advantage of it. Hold on. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I'm still getting the link.
No, no, that's right. That's fine. So take advantage of it. Danielle, for those who are just tuning in, Danielle is a business consultant slash strategist, right? And if you didn't get
Yes.
the information she previously talked about, please go back and view this video and listen to what she said. She has some great information. We talked about a lot, and some information you may be not privy to that you can listen in on on when you go back to view it. Again, you have view and transform our lives podcast at a time through the lens and the eyes of the community. That's exactly what we do. She has placed the link in the chat. And go ahead, Danielle.
Yes, and I will also paste my main website as well where you can be able to contact me. Give me 1 second.
I think she's on froze a little bit, so you may want to repeat that.
Okay, hold on.
Hmm.
1 second, guys. I am waiting to be able to get the link. Give me 1 second. It's still okay. There we go. I got it. So this second link is for my personal website. Not personal, but business website. Business
Hmm.
portfolio website is what I meant to say, where you can see all of the marketing projects that I have done. So that you can be able to also contact me directly as well if you would like to take it a step further and for me to be your personal business consultant and strategist. On the second website, you would go to the contact me section and you can contact me from there. Okay.
So you guys, there you go. You have it. There you have it. Danielle, it was a pleasure talking with you. I hope you to come back on and let me know if anybody came on from viewing this video. Because if they came on, they decided to take you up on your offer and they said that they watched this on my channel, then I have something for them. So it's like a referral bonus. And if they successfully complete it, then I have something for them. But they have to mention Transforming Lives podcast. And then Danielle will contact me on that came on from viewing your show. So without further ado, I'm going to say thank you so much, Danielle, for coming on. I really appreciate you and all the knowledge that you've given us, the viewing audience, and myself. And I will definitely be contacting you soon. Probably
Awesome.
during the spring of this year, but I will definitely be contacting you.
Awesome. Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome, everyone. We're going to say good night tonight. And again, transform their life one day at a time through the lens and the eyes of the community.